checking, that's not quite dry. Let me show you here. What I did is I have a collection of all kinds of glitter that I got from Michael's. And I used my coupon because it's kind of pricey. But I think it's got like 40 different shades of glitter or something in it. But these are the colors that I have. I have gold. Let me show you. Okay, so we have gold, which we're going to use on the stars. I have silver and a color called snow, which is a little bit holographic, mostly white, but a little bit holographic, that we're going to use on the snowflakes combined. I have 2 shades of red, which we're going to use on the house. And I have 2 shades of green, which we are going to use on the trees. And then I have a bronzy color that I have to go grab that I used on the trunks. You do not have to have that many colors. You could get away with less. You could just do the whole thing in one like sparkly color if you wanted. You could paint these instead of using glitter. But that's how I did it. So I'm going to show you with the glitter because that's how I did this one. And this is still a little damp, but I think we can do it. So let me grab that brown color. Okay. So that one is called Chestnut. All right. I'm just going to put this on here. And I'm going to grab some glue. I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure I used art glitter glue. If I didn't, that's what I'm using today. You're going to want a small brush for your glue. Okay, so make a puddle of glue on your paper plate. Not too big, you only need a little. And let's see, let's start with what? Let's start with the trees. Okay. So I'll start with the biggest tree so you can see. So I'm just going to paint the tree with the glue. Try to stay within the lines of the tree. Should be fairly easy because it's texture. Actually, I'm just realizing that I didn't really want to paint the whole tree, only some of it, because we're doing 2 colors. So but it'll be fine. I'm putting the glue, or I should have put the glue, on the underside of each sort of swoopy area. Because we're going to use the darker color first. Okay. And then I'm just going to sprinkle this. These little tubes have a sprinkly side and a pour side. Just going to sprinkle the glitter. Like that, not covering the whole thing. Okay, and you could tap it in if you want a little bit. Okay, and then dump to get the extra off. Okay, and don't worry about the part that's on the background. We can brush that off with a dry brush after. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more glue. In some of the other areas. whoops. Now we're going to use the lighter, and this is taped shut because I could not get it to stay closed and ended up spilling it. Okay. So then we are going to sprinkle this lighter shade, get rid of this giant piece of tape. Okay. Thanks. And again, don't worry about getting it in the background because that'll come off. Take that shut. Okay. And then I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shake. Pit. I may need to add a little bit more. Pat it off. And I think I need some more right up there. And this is really, at this point, personal taste. And you can let the whole thing dry and then come back and add more if you need it. And you can just, the art glitter glue dries fast, but not super fast. So you really can do, you know, put the glue down on all of your trees. Okay, and I know that this looks like a big cloud of green, but once everything is more dry, we'll come in with a dry brush and brush away the part that over sprinkled. All right, so let's do the other two trees. And again, I'm going to start with sort of the undersides where I want it to be darker. Getting a little on the background because I rushed, but I can scrape that up. And you can do the trunks green too if you don't want to be bothered with brown on the trunks. And on these little ones, I'm just kind of blobbing the paint, the what do you call it? The glue on. And let's do that. So we're doing the darker first. Okay. And then we're just gonna give that a little, and pour it off. Okay. Oops. And the other thing you could do that's easy is just cover all of the upper part of the tree with your glue and then just sprinkle the glitter where you want it and try to avoid the other areas. That works fine too, rather than trying to add more glue after. Okay. Okay. So that's pretty good. I think it could probably use a little more around the edges, but we're going to let it dry before we deal with that. And then if you want to try and save your extra glitter, you can. I'm just moving it off to the side because I think I might want to brush some more on later or sprinkle some more on. But I am actually going to move on to another color. Okay, so now I'm going to do the red, and I do want to make sure that I don't have any green on my brush. And it's okay if you have a little bit of green mixed in. It's not really going to show, but I'm just going to clean that a little bit. Okay. And let's get, just going to get a dry brush and brush away some of this extra green. Not all of it yet, but just get some of it. Especially from around the house, because that's what we're going to do next. You don't want to do this too hard right where the glitter actually is on the tree, because it's not dry yet. Okay. There's that. Push my green off to the side. Okay, now we are going to do the little house. Okay. Again, we're going to brush the house. With art glitter glue. And I did use 2 shades. I'm sure you could do it with just one, but I had 2, so that's what I used. I've got cherry and garnet. The garnet is the darker color. And I'm just going to put that more to the bottom of the house. Like that. And then we'll use the garnet. I mean the cherry to the top. That was the garnet. This is going to be the cherry. Oh, and I splotched some right on top of my tree, which will be fine. It'll look like an ornament. If it sticks, it might not stick. Yeah, came right off because there was no glue there. Okay, so there's the house. And again, the edges are still looking white from the texture paste, and I'm fine with that, but you can always add a little glue and a little extra glitter later. So we're just brushing off some of the extra. There we go. All right, now I'm not doing the trunks yet because I probably am going to add more green to those trees. I'm just going to let what's there dry a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to turn this, and I want to use gold on the 2 stars. So we are going to paint the stars. With the stars and the snowflakes, I was not as fussy about filling them. I just wanted to get some glitter onto them. Sorry about that loud truck. I think they're emptying the dumpster. I live in a townhome, and there's a dumpster down the parking lot a ways. well with that. It's hard to be neat with some of these thinner ones, but just do the best you can. Okay, so that's that one. Is going to be gold for these two. Okay. Right. That looks good. And again, we've got the little cloud around them that we'll get with the dry brush after. Okay. And then we have the snowflakes. And these are kind of a pain. Just because there's a lot of them and they're small. But we can do it. Alright, so let's start with this one. And if you have an area that you missed a little with your texture paste, you can add a little glue there and fill it in, or by the same token, if you have an area where you put too much texture paste, just don't put any glue there. The glitter won't stick and it won't show as much. And if you don't have any texture paste, you could just use a stencil and maybe a very light pencil or something and mark these designs on the cover, and then paint inside with your glue and add your glitter. And you'd get a similar effect, you just wouldn't have the quite as much height to them. Okay, so I think that's everything for that snowflake. And we are going to add this snow color. It's called Snow, yeah. Is kind of sheer. It doesn't really show a lot. That's why I'm using silver with it. It adds sparkle, but no real color. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to add some silver. I had to take this one shut too. Oh, yikes. Okay, get rid of that. Come on. All right. Took me a minute to get that on there, so I'm not sure it's going to stick, so I'm just going to give the silver a little press. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to have to add more glue and then add the silver because that had... So you're just going to go ahead and add some silver to the middle, to the outsides if you want. I'm not putting a lot because I don't want the snowflakes to be 100% silver. I just want some silver accents. Okay, that's better. Okay. And again, do not worry if your cover looks a bit like a hot mess with loose glitter all over it. It's going to. After everything is dried thoroughly, we'll go back in with a dry brush and get rid of a lot of that over splatter of glitter. Just make sure when you're doing the snowflakes that you get your glue all the way out to the tip of each little arm of the snowflakes. Okay, and then I got over there just a little more glue than I wanted. Let me pick that up. Okay, and I think what I'm going to do with this one is put the silver in the middle. Like that, kind of, and then the white around it. Or it doesn't really show as white, it's kind of clear. As I tried to use some of this on the trees to look like snow, but it just was clear, so it didn't show. And I'm just going to give it a tap to kind of spread that out a little bit. Okay, and then we'll dump. Nice, and I'll come back in maybe and add a little bit more silver later, but that looks pretty good. And all right, let's do this little guy. These little ones are hard. You definitely need a fine brush to do these. Good. I think I don't know, I was thinking I might need to add more silver, but I don't know as I do. All right, so let's do that. Now the trees definitely need a touch up, but we have to do the trunks as well. So let me see, how are you doing? These are dry enough that I can do the touch up. So I am just gonna repaint the areas where they need a little more with my glue. Okay. And then I'm not sure. I'd like to use that glitter right there if I could scoop it up, but I don't know if I have anything. Let's see, well, let's do it. There we go. That's why I saved the green off to the side, so that I could reuse it, but I think it's just going to be easier to sprinkle fresh on because I don't have quite enough here. Oh, totally missed there. Okay, hang on. Got some over there off of my platter. This is why I switched to a different mat. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, now I just need to fix this one. Looks like it's fine. This one has a bald spot. What do I do with my brush? There it is. And you could probably mix glitter into the glue and do it that way, but I wasn't sure, so this is how I'm doing it. Hang on, that made a mess. That was not quite dry where I put that. So hang on, I'm going to actually apply some glue directly, and then I'll spread it with the brush. Okay, so a couple of spots on this little tree that look like they could use a little extra. Okay, let's do that. And the dark green. And some of the light green. Okay. Okay. Better, and those will need to dry. And we do need to do the trunks, so I'm just brushing those off of any loose glitter. And I'm just going to put a dollop of glue on each one. Spread it out with my brush. Like that. Okay. And then we're going to use chestnut. Oh, actually, this, you know, this one is not open. I think I used the other shade of brown here. I'll try to open it when I have an open one. This is espresso. I'm going to use espresso on the trunks. Cute. Okay, now I'm just gonna get in there. We don't want to do too much dry brushing until everything is thoroughly dry. I am gonna get a few. What passes there. And again, any little extra glitter that makes the cover sparkly is perfectly fine. It's a Christmas album. Because the surface is still slightly tacky, I didn't let it fully dry from applying the rice paper, so I may have a little bit of extra glitter, but it's coming off for the most part. And everybody knows how glitter is. Just by being in the vicinity of glitter, stuff gets glitter, so there's some on the back cover. Okay, all right, that looks good, I think. And I am just going to let all of this dry and then go back over with a big fluffy brush and get rid of anything that's loose. All right, so I gotta go wash these brushes again. Always clean your brushes as soon as you're done with them. Okay, so the cover is pretty much dry, and I've just taken this big fluffy elf complexion brush, but any big fluffy brush, and just given it a light brushing to get rid of the extra glitter. Okay, so that's done. So we have our pages. In my case, I'm doing 2. If you are doing this album, you will need 5. And this spine that I made for myself is actually sized for 3 signatures, but I only made 2, so I'm just going to put 2 in. You will need this one if you are making the 5. Okay, so let me give you measurements again. We already cut this out. It's 2 by 4. And what you need to do is measure down 3/8 inch from the top and 3/8 inch from the bottom and draw a line. Also, go to the center, which is 2 inches, and draw a line. Okay, so now you're going to have 3 lines. Then you want to make mark 1/4 inch, every 1/4 inch across at the top line, the middle line, and the bottom line, and join them together. So you'll end up with this grid of vertical lines with 3 horizontal lines. You're going to do the same if you're doing the narrow one. Okay, so that's that. Glitter everywhere. Okay, now we need a few tools. Okay. This, let's see, is my little bookbinding kit, which is very inexpensive. It's available on Amazon. I will link it. However, you can get the items that you need separately for not a lot of money. You'll need needles with large eyes. You'll need a strong thread. This is a waxed linen thread, but any strong thread will do. Some binder clips, just regular office binder clips, and an awl. Okay, and this you should be able to find online crafting stores or bookbinding stores, embroidery stores. I have another one that I use for embroidery. You will find the ones for embroidery tend to taper a little more, a little fatter at the top. You want one that's pretty straight. You know, they're all going to taper, but let me show you the other one that I have. Hang on. Okay, so you can see the difference. This is an embroidery awl, and the reason for this is it's used for making eyelets, and it gets wider so you can make the eyelet bigger. This one is more of a bookbinding awl, so it's narrower. But it doesn't really matter. You're not making that big a hole, so whichever awl you can find. And this one has a little plastic protective sleeve on it because they are very sharp. And I'm just using a piece of corrugated cardboard. An old book will work because we're going to poke holes in this, and I don't want to poke holes right through. So anywhere that you have a cross between 2 lines, you want to poke a hole. This is a template that you're making, so once you've made it once, you won't have to make it again. Okay. Okay, so now I've got my holes. I don't need that more. So what you need to do is transfer those holes into the spine of your book. And you can do it from the outside, you can do it from the inside, it doesn't matter. Okay, and you can just hold this in place, you can measure it, you can tape it, whatever works for you. And I'm just kind of holding mine in place, but I need to check to make sure it's centered. Straight up and down, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to measure carefully here from the edge. 4 inches should be 4 inches. So I'm centered. And what I am going to do is, because I only have 2 signatures, I'm just doing the 2 outside and I'm going to ignore that middle one. I'm tempted to make a 3rd signature, but actually I'm going to put all 3 holes and I'm going to make a 3rd signature. Because I do have enough paper to make one more. Okay, so now I've poked my holes. They're probably hard to see, but you can go back through with your awl and you're going to poke all the way through. And what I'm seeing right there is I would like my cover there to be a little more defined. Okay. Did not do that as straight as I might have. Well, they look good on the outside. I think it's just the inside where they don't look straight. I guess I did do it fine. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm gonna real quick make one more signature and then I'll put them in the book. Put that aside for the moment. Okay, I was rushing, so I don't know if I did a great job on that, but so now I have 3 signatures. And I want them to go like that. Okay, and then we have our spine with the holes. Let me put this away. We're done with it. Okay, there. So what I'm going to do is take the first signature, set the other 2 aside, make sure everything is in. I need to ink. Hang on. I'm probably going to have to re-ink several where I trimmed. Okay. And then you want to open it up to the center section. Okay. And you want to binder clip it. And then binder clip this side. Make sure everything is lined up. Okay, and you're going to take your spine. I'm trying to work this in such a way you can see it. Now you can mark through the template, but I find it easier to just line up my spine piece right down into the bottom, just leave a tiny little space, okay? And then you're going to want to lift both sides up so they're up a little bit and just make a little poke right at each line. I'm not really going all the way through at this point. Okay, there we go. Then you want to hold it semi-closed and poke through. Like that, right through into the spine, into the, the fold there. that. And like that. Okay, and then you might need to make them a little wider once you've made them, just by pushing the awl a little bit further through. Okay. Now you want to take about 3 lengths of your thread. If you're using a very thin thread, you might want to double it. Scissors here. Oh, there they are. Okay, and you want to thread it through one of your large eye needles. Okay, like that. And then you want to take, make sure it's right side up, make sure your cover is right side up. You are going to poke the needle through the center hole, like that, and then through the center hole that you've made on your spine. And this can be hard to pull through. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Okay, you want to pull it through and leave a little bit of a tail, because you're going to have to tie that later. Okay, then you want to go either to the bottom or the top, it doesn't matter. But once you've done that, you need to be consistent. Okay, so now we've gone to the bottom, and you want to pull this tight. Okay, but hang on, before you pull it tight, put the needle back through the hole that you made in the pages. Okay, and then you want to pull it pretty tight. Okay, now take the center thread, pull it up this way towards where you're coming, and put the needle in. This way you'll avoid splitting your thread, which you definitely do not want to do. And you want to go back through that same hole without splitting the thread. So you're going back through the middle. Okay. Okay. Now you're going to go to the bottom, go in that hole, and through the hole that you made in your pages. And you can sort of split the pages and do them one at a time if you have to. And I need to pull it to where I can see it, because I can't see it otherwise. Okay, pull it through. Okay, now you want to pull straight up on your threads. Try not to pull sideways. You can pull a little bit top to bottom, but try not to pull sideways. You want to make sure everything is nice and tight. Okay. Oh, hang on. It's easier if you leave your needle in for this part, but you want to run that thread under. You want to come down and run it underneath. Right there, okay? And then tie. You could tie a knot, you could tie a bow, whatever you want to tie. I think I used knots on the other one, so I'll do a little bow on this one. Okay, there we go. All right, there is the first signature in the book. Okay, easy, right? Now we're just going to repeat that with the second signature. So, first step is to make sure everything is properly lined up, and then binder clip, and binder clips. Okay, take your spine template. Hang on. I feel like that is not properly in. Okay, how's that? Hold on. Let me start over. I do not have these in. There. everything, make sure everything is lined up. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Spine template. That in. Take your awl. A little poke at each line. And then straight through. Straight through. Okay. Go. And you want to take 3 lengths of your twine or your string or whatever you're using. I'll link this little bookbinding kit down below. It's really inexpensive. It's like, I'll show it to you when I'm done. It's like $23, something like that. And it has the awl. It has 3 different colors of thread. It has the needles, the binder clips. It has bone folders. I think there's more stuff. I'll show you when I'm done. Oh, okay. Hang on. Okay, so in the middle, make sure that you are right side up. Make sure everything is right side up. Through the middle hole in the spine. Okay, leave a bit of a tail. And then, if I remember correctly, I've forgotten. I think I went to the bottom. Okay. You're going to come in through that hole and through the hole in your papers. And sometimes you can just push it through that way if it's easier on your hand. Okay. Then we want to pull this one down towards you. Put the needle back through without going through the thread, and out that hole in the middle, again without piercing that thread. Okay. Then we want to go up into the next hole. Back in. And then you want to pass that thread underneath that middle one. Make sure everything is tight. That feels loose to me. I did pierce that thread a little bit, and that's why I'm having trouble pulling it tight, but I think that's pretty good. Tie that and a little bow. You can leave your tails long and attach charms to them if you want. That's really cute too. Okay, there we go. And I mentioned that I was going to tell you why I did this differently than the way Christina Radavan did hers. She only used 2 holes. Boy, I did that crooked. She only used 2 holes. And I just felt like that left the pages too loose and floppy. Okay, and then I've got the 3rd one. Again, line everything up. Wrong spine. Okay, and all. Again, I'm going to make a hole. And this first hole is really just a mark. If you're off a little bit, just fix it and make a second mark. It's when you push through that you want to be careful. Well, you should be careful anyway, but if you make a mistake with that first mark, it's no big deal. You just make another mark. Okay. Keep your hands out of the way when you're poking this all through. You don't want to stab yourself. Okay, what did I do with my little sleeve for my awl? Because I'm done with that now. I don't see it. I will find it. Okay. Thread. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Make sure everything's right side up. Needle through there. Again, make sure everything's right side up. And through the center hole in the spine. Okay. And then we're going to go through this hole. This down, make sure I don't pierce that thread. Okay. Through. Okay. And again, make sure everything is nice and tight. That thread underneath. And tie a bow. Trim those later. Okay, looking good. I am happy with that. All of this will relax a little as time goes by. We did trim some of these pages, so I'll have to go back through and ink. As far as the closure goes, let me show you what I did on the other one. I took one of the round circles. Now, two things I want you, I probably should have mentioned this right at the beginning, but set aside the circles page. I used one here, and I've got the rest set aside for another project. And I just put a little piece of seam binding underneath one of these circles, and then attached it to a clip, and it just clips closed. And we'll do that on the other one. I may use something other, I can't use the circles because I've already used them for something else, but I'll just cut a little something and use that. And then take your sheet that has your dates and just, I evenly spread them basically throughout the pages. Towards the end, I put a little bit more space between them and a little bit less at the beginning, just because I thought as December wore on, that's how I'd want it. What I would do if I were you, really, I did it so I could show you, but I would just cut apart the dates, put them in a little envelope, tuck them in the back of the book, and then use them as you need them as December goes on. for your December daily. Okay, now let's make the closure on this little guy. And after it's closed a while, it relaxes and it tends to stay more closed rather than gaping like it is right now. All right, so let me see what I have that I can use. I'm gonna see if I have any scrap or anything that I could fussy cut. Oh, we have little Santa. We could cut him. We have this little kitty. I don't think. What's on the back? He doesn't really go. Kitty goes though. All right. So what I'm gonna do is cut this there. Cutting this awkward little shape, but that'll be perfectly fine to hold my seam binding. Okay. There's that. I'm just noticing I didn't close my texture paste fully. Let me do that. Okay. Let me put my needle away. Let me put all these things away and then we'll do our closure. There's my needle. Oh, there's my little cap for my awl. Hi, baby. And all those in there. And let me get my seam binding. The seam binding is white, so I am just going to hit it up with some ink to tone down the white. It doesn't need too much. I just don't want it white. Okay, there's that. All right, just gonna cut this straight, and we're gonna attach this to the back of the book. And I'm just deciding, I think we'll put it about in the middle. And put the little kitty on top. That'll be cute. I have got glitter everywhere on this mat. Okay. I'm just going to put a little piece of score tape in the middle. And then I'm going to attach that seam binding right about there. And I'm going to use wet glue to hold this piece down. Okay. Okay, that is cute. That's good. Okay, and I'm not sure I even have another one of those clips. I might be almost out. Let me go check. Okay, got one. These are just little Tim Holtz. I don't know what he calls them. They're like bulldog clips, but they're tiny. And you can get those, I've seen them. I'm pretty sure Scrap and Create has them. But of course, you can use any closure you want. All right, so what I do with this is I just clip it on and then pull it through, and then you're going to leave a long tail, okay, like I did on the other one, and then just loop it through and knot it. You can tighten it if you need to, which I do. But the reason for this very long tail is as you add notes and mementos and whatever, it's going to get fatter, and you don't want to permanently snip this off and attach it until, I can't get through, hang on, until you know exactly how fat this book needs to be. Okay, there we go. And then once I know, I can go back through later and make it more permanent. But for now, I'm just putting it with a real long tail so that I can adjust it as need be. Okay, and then you can go through and trim these little guys as well as you want, if you want. Okay, so fat one, skinny one, and I'll probably go through tomorrow when I'm 100% sure all my glitter is dry and ink the edge of this just to give it a little bit more character. Let me show you. Just give it a little like that. But I don't want to do it too much right now. And I don't know how much is going to stick now that I've got this, completely Mod Podged or whatever it is on the outside, but we'll see. Okay. So there we go. And let me show you. Save these. You can put them in your bookbinding kit. And let me show you that little kit just in case you're interested in getting one. Because I was really surprised for how cheap this was, how much was in it. So it's got the little awl, it's got the needles, it has this little brush if you're going to do a glued binding, which I don't know if I'll ever do that or not. But it comes with 4 binder clips, 3 different colors of thread, a very nice looking pair of scissors, a ruler, 2 different bone folders, oh wait a minute, 4 colors of thread, a thimble, and some bookbinding tape, which is cloth. Okay, so then I will link this down below. I had had it on my Amazon wish list for a long time. Didn't buy it, and then I was tired of trying to get the threads that I was using through the needles that I was using, and I thought, well, let me get some linen thread and some larger-eyed needles, but it was going to add up to the same as this kit, so I went ahead and bought the kit. I'm glad I did. It's a nice kit. Okay, there you go. Okay, there. Okay, I think that is it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, I have a bald spot right there. I'm going to add more. Is it bald or is it just light glitter? It's a little bald. I'll go back through and add a little more glitter to that. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next time, and we will get started on something new. Bye-bye.